It's been a long time, longer than this channel has existed in fact, since I've been able to recommend an early access survival title that didn't start with Val and end with Heim. Enter Forever Skies, an equal parts serene and startling airship base builder set in an eco-apocalyptic version of future Earth. As is the case with what feels like 100% of its genre peers, Forever Skies puts you in the boots of a crash-landed cosmonaut absent context or charisma. That's right, you're yet another mute engineer in a hostile environment, and by golly, you're gonna build your way out of it, cause talking sure as heck never got no one nowhere. So while you will pick up some infrequent nuggets of touchscreen lore from the corpses of people you probably wouldn't have liked much anyhow, don't go in expecting anything else in the way of dialogue, character development, or even a cohesive narrative, at least not on day one of early access. What you can expect are solid if familiar survival and base building mechanics, albeit so much more fun than usual because you're building on the fly, literally. Expand your airship mid-flight and add an impressive list of toys to its interior and exterior, from a research desk to a water purification system to a mounted extractor that can rip synthetic blobs of who knows what right from the very sky for you to fabricate in all sorts of tools that further the game's interesting and addicting list of objectives. You'll start by visiting simple radio towers, mostly buried in the layer of toxic dust that blankets this hellish vision of what awaits us all. Scavenging these towers yields parts you'll use to increase your airship's maximum speed and altitude, thereby unlocking the next tier of tower that houses even more complex materials that you'll then use to reach the next tier of towers, and so on. This dynamic imparts a satisfying and tangible sense of progression to players from the get-go, and each level of tower steadily introduces more and more intrigue into the world until finally culminating in an exciting gameplay shift that caught me, having never seen a Forever Skies trailer, by delighted surprise. So, if Forever Skies' base building mechanics, interesting world, and intriguing list of objectives are the good, what's the not so good? Thankfully, not much. The game's user interface is currently clunky at best, and battling skimpy inventory space will end up occupying too much of your time. That and the heads-up display is currently very hard to read against lighter backgrounds. Meanwhile, the very little combat currently here is decidedly cumbersome, and controlling your character in these situations feels less than fluid. I also encountered a significant amount of frame rate lag early, but fiddling with the settings helped tremendously, and I was able to carry on most of my playthrough on epic settings. Not much in the way of bugs to report other than these little dudes, which is a welcome change from my typical forays into early access survival titles, and the game's common sense unstuck button, which just teleports you into your cockpit, is a nice touch. As for style, Forever Skies is visually inconsistent. From a distance, the game's colorful, shape-shifting dust swarms and extractor particle effects dazzle, but up close most textures fall flat. The music, meanwhile, is enjoyable and atmospheric, if fairly repetitive, and the sound design oscillates between excellent and awful. Luckily, Forever Skies' shortcomings are very forgivable from a first-time team on day one of early access, especially because the rest of the game is so dang neat. Really, I had a wonderful time exploring the skyward world gone wrong, and can't wait to see co-op get added in the very near future. Until then, I'm giving Forever Skies a subject to change aggregate megascore of 3.1 out of 5, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the game or my review. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.